It's Marchand and Meteparel. Everybody loves sports media. John, what is up?
Had a good weekend, Marchand. Hope you did as well. BC had a bye. I'm ready to go for Cal this week. We got some big news in the world of golf, so let's start it off there. The Masters deal going to Amazon. They'll have Thursday and Friday coverage from 1 to 3 before ESPN takes over the rest of the day. CBS continuing on the weekend. What is your take on Amazon's strategy?
I think Amazon clearly has the best strategy so far of the streamers, and it's a clear one. They got the NFL. They have the NBA starting soon. Now they add the Masters. We've talked about in New York, locally, they have the Yankees. So what are they doing? In Canada, they have the NHL. So what are they doing? They're going at the top of the market. They're going to things that are proven to work. And what that means to me, to Amazon Prime, is you have to have it if you want these big events. And also long term, which is how they think about things. They get their foot in the door. They have endless money. They can see what works. And the idea that they're going to grow more in these events, I think, is a pretty easy one to see, as opposed to some of the other streamers who are trying to figure out what they're doing. So I think Amazon, we'll get more into this. We got this week Off the Record with Jay Marine, presented by WSC Sports, which is on Wednesday. That'll be fun to talk to Jay about this deal and others. But I think Amazon clearly has taken the lead.
Yeah, no, I think it's also the fact they're associating themselves with the Tiffany brand. And they're eventizing, like you always talk about. You can't get bigger than the Masters. And it's a boon for the golf consumer, which we can get into in a little bit.
We'll get into that. And let me just say, just so, for people who didn't see the news, the way it's, working, as you said, Thursday and Friday, 1 to 3. Then ESPN, I think, goes 3 to 7. And then the weekend, you have your regular CBS coverage with Nance and company. And, Nance will be on all the calls because they they handle the broadcast. They add in people, Scott Van Pelt for ESPN and others. And then I'm sure Amazon might put a little bit of their own touch on it as well from 1 to 3.
Mr. Beast, maybe? Mr. Beast on the third hole?
Yeah, exactly. That's been the idea. Amazon actually has been, we got on YouTube for that. Didn't get on him. For promotion, I see Mr. Beast. As part of your regular coverage, I think that's a mistake. I do not think the patrons and everything else that goes along with the Masters is going to have Mr. Beast. So if anything, it will be something that's very similar to what we used to. On Thursday, it might come out Wednesday, Robert Fishman, one of the top analysts in the business from MoffettNathanson. We're going into the business, Amazon, ESPN, NBC. We go through all of the networks and platforms with Robert, so look forward to presenting that. And then presented by WSC Sports, Digital Asset Management, a library that actually gets sports. WSC uses AI tags. You need a highlight from a couple weeks ago, use Digital Asset Management. Most of you already do. Leagues, teams, networks. You got to use WSC Sports, WSC-sports.com. And we're Twice a Week Podcast, AndrewMarchand.com, if you want to hear the whole podcast.
All right, Marchand, what is up in your world?
My what's up is Stephen A. Smith. I wrote a story for The Athletic. His base salary from ESPN is $21 million. His base salary from Sirius XM is $12 million. That's $33 million per year, Meet. Plus, he has a chance to add money through his YouTube and the podcast and advertising that will have him approaching and maybe even surpassing $40 million a year.
Goodness.
So the idea that Stephen A. is going to run for president, I think, is not happening, at least in this cycle. But maybe, by 32, do things change? But I think he's made a lot of money for a long time. But now he's gotten into a place where you're talking about what the highest athletes in sports make, and that's where Stephen A. has attained in terms of sports, and now adding politics. We'll get into that. We'll get into why a little bit later when we get into the questions. But Stephen A. Smith, clearly my what's up for the week, especially his bank account.
I'm going to need a moment. Okay. Unbelievable. $40 million. That is just staggering. But my what's up is the NFL today and their retro coverage celebrating their 50th anniversary. It was fantastic. I love the fact they brought Brent Musburger back to do You Are Looking Live at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And he was flawless. Brent was throwing some heat. He was into it. he was enthused. He was there for about 40 minutes. They kept him around from the majority of the show. Did a nice segment with Matt Ryan talking about the strengths and weaknesses of picking games, kind of like the old Jimmy the Greek board that we loved. Who's got the check mark here? Brent did it without a script. He was comfortable with it. I think it was just for people that like you and I that grew up in that era and we live for the NFL today. It brought us back. They did a good job talking about Phyllis George and Irv Cross and all that they've lost and Jimmy the Greek. So it was a nice nostalgia day for CBS. A little bit jarring to see the AI background with like the electronic, the old people in the background that used to be the researchers, the interns on the set. Now they were just AI, so that was a little bit jarring. But overall, excellent job.
All right, we'll get deeper into that in the questions. I'm going to have my what's down in a second on Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork. You have Colin Coward as a what's down. We'll also get more into Amazon, the Masters, Stephen A's contract, Molly Curum, and First Take. And we'll go into the football weekend. J.J. Watt, Ross Tucker, Gary Danielson, Jason Garrett. Also some comments that were made by Eric Shanks at FOS at their event this week. We'll get into all of that. If you want to listen to the full podcast, AndrewMarchand.com. AndrewMarchand.com. We appreciate all of you, P1s or non-P1s. If you don't know what a P1 is, go back to the beginning of when we started. We explained what a P1 is. All our P1s, we really appreciate all of you. We appreciate everybody. All right, so AndrewMarchand.com.